Thank you. Could I ask the Minister his views on the reported memo from his department to local authorities raising the idea of increasing rents for council tenants who do not pay their water charges and even the threat of evictions?
Thank the Deputy again for his question. Since the 1st of January 2014, Irish Water has a statutory responsibility for all aspects of water services planning, delivery and operation at national, regional and local levels, as the Deputy is well aware. The occupier of a property is liable to pay the water charges bill, and legislation provides that the owner is the occupier unless the contrary is proven to be the case. Irish Water is providing landlords with the opportunity to prove that they are not the occupier by providing the tenants' names. This will allow Irish Water to contact the tenant to complete the registration and to bill the tenant thereafter. The tenant will have to register with Irish Water to avail of the water conservation grant or to get lower charges than the default cap charge of €260, where they are single adult occupants or the metered usage is less than the maximum charge. Draft legislation, which I'll be bringing forward, will place certain obligations on landlords where the tenant has not paid charges. In the case of local authority tenants, where deposit arrangements do not apply and where a customer is in arrears for more than 12 months and the late payment fee has been accrued, Irish Water, having firstly provided the customer with the opportunity to pay the arrears or into a payment plan, will advise the local authority concerned of the amount in the arrears. It is envisaged that the legislation will provide for the local authority to recover the amount outstanding over a 12-month period and to remit the amount involved to Irish Water. These scenarios are being avoided These scenarios can be avoided by entering into a payment plan with Irish Water, which I would encourage everyone to do. Various easy pay options will be made available through post offices or other payment providers. The overall cost for those who register is either €1.15 a week for single households or €3 a week for all others. Water supply will not be reduced under any circumstances, as I have made quite publicly clear. My department will be consulting with the local government sector, social housing providers and landlord and tenant representatives in the course of drafting the necessary legislation to give effect to the measures I've just proposed.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Murphy.
It's outrageous, Minister. It's discrimination against local authority tenants. It's saying that they can have money stolen off them to pay a tax that they don't want to pay in a boycott that they're participating in, together with potentially the majority of the population. And you're saying that the council should then be forced to increase their rent and take the money off them. Can you comment on the threat of eviction? If they don't pay the increased rent that has been imposed on them potentially as a result of these water charges, can they be evicted? Are you going to throw people out of their homes for refusing to pay the water charges? How do the councils feel about being made into debt collectors for Irish Water? It's clear you have problems with the private landlords. They don't want to be made into debt collectors. How come you haven't included either of these measures in the bill to come before the House this week? Is it because you're rightly concerned about the reaction that it will provoke? Because if people knew that people could face eviction for not paying water charges, that on the 10th of December, tens of thousands of people, even more, would flood the streets in opposition to this draconian scaremongering measure?
Minister.
Thank you, Deputy. Well, the legislation on this will be before the Houses, obviously, this week and also early in the new year, so you'll have your chance to debate all of this in quite detail. But if people enter into a reasonable payment plan, they'll avoid all of these issues. I don't envisage in any way anyone being thrown out of their house in a local authority. I mean, I'm in charge of local authorities, but let me just say this. The main reason why some people are evicted in local authorities is usually because of antisocial behaviour. So I don't envisage in any scenarios where that would be the type of course of action that would happen. You say that people in local authorities are being discriminated against. Well, I don't agree with you. I mean, I think it's very fair to say that everyone has to pay their way as regards the contribution to what is necessary as regards water infrastructure. And, you know, there are hundreds of thousands of people out there, some of them whom are watching this here today, who have been paying for water for decades.
Thank you, Minister.
For many decades. And being honest with you, I don't see you protesting outside their schemes or where their water provision comes for the fact that they've had to pay thousands of euros down through the last number of decades in order to do so. So there's two ways of looking at this, Deputy.
Deputy Murphy, we're over time now. Deputy Murphy.
I'm happy to explain how this constitutes discrimination, because those who own their own home will not have this money taken off them. Those who are private rented may have it taken off their deposit, but that remains to be seen. Whereas what you're saying is that council tenants will have their rents increased to take the water charges off them. That amounts to discrimination against those who are council tenants. Can I ask again for a commitment that nobody will be evicted for refusing to pay the water charges? This was well reported in the media over the past week or so, the suggestion that people could be evicted. So either it's a scare story coming from the government or some similar source designed to encourage people to pay, not to join the boycott, or there's a basis of truth to it. So if the Minister could confirm absolutely that no one will be evicted for not paying their water charges, that would be very, very helpful to people and will assuage people's fears. And finally, I just say, the threats aren't going to work.
Thank you,
your baby
Deputy.
carrot's not going to work. Your water charges are going to be defeated.
Minister, final reply.
I thank the Deputy for his consistency anyway. To be honest, I don't envisage, I'll say it again, I'll repeat for you because you obviously didn't hear it the first time, I don't envisage anyone in any way, shape or form being evicted because of the utility of Irish water. I've already said to you, I mean, I'm in charge of local authorities. By and large, and it's not a frequent occurrence, but where it does happen, where somebody is evicted, it's usually for antisocial behaviour. And whereby neighbours can't live with the fact of the behaviour of some people, and that has to be the case in some scenarios. So I don't envisage any way in which that will be the case. The main way in which people who have issues in relation to this can deal with it is through a payment plan, and there will be various different mechanisms by which that can be done. I've also insisted, from a rural point of view, that An Post will be a key component to be able to provide such a payment plan, but there will be various other options there as well, and I expect many people to avail of them.
Come on, Deputy Michelle Mulhern has the next question.